This is the book of Proverbs, chapter 12, verse 26. The righteous is more excellent than his neighbor, but the way of the wicked seduceth them. Call HALAL, YAHAWAH, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, BAHASHAM, QADASH. That's giving all praise to the Most High, in the name of His only begotten Son, in the name of the Holy Spirit. Double honors to our teachers, the elders and apostles, the great millstone who taught us His truth and sincerity. Peace and salutations to the hopeful elect scattered abroad. Shalom to 144,000. 1 second. Okay, Salakia. Let's bring that back. This is the book of Proverbs, chapter 12, verse 26. The righteous is more excellent than his neighbor. The way of the wicked seduceth them. I'm going to give all praises to Yahawah, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, BAHASHAM, QADASH. That's giving all praise to the Most High, in the name of His only begotten Son, in the name of the Holy Spirit. Double honors to our teachers, the elders and apostles, the great millstone who taught us His truth and sincerity. Peace and salutations to the hopeful elect scattered abroad. Shalom to 144,000. I'll make this quick, through the spirit of Yahweh, Shem, Yahushua, praise, edifying to the elect. As you see this video right here, man, I want to go through this video. It came out about 2 weeks ago from this channel. Truth is, and fair use. I'm not making any monetary gain off of this video. It's just for edificational purposes, educational purposes. All right. Just real quick, it says, he titled it, Power Actor Exposes Evil Side of Hollywood. And as you see in I'll put in my title, Satan's Playground, because that's what Hollywood is, Satan's Playground. But what I thought was very interesting is this picture, that he have on the screen where it shows Satan, okay, a red man in a suit, okay? And the red man in the suit, okay, or the devil in the suit is Esau. Okay, Esau, Edom the wicked. Because they don't make any of the talent, but they control all of the entertainers. They control these entertainers. They control Hollywood. They're very wicked, So you got Jake, who might be into making music, might try to make music, might want to like to sing. But as you see with these rappers and these singers and anybody that's in that industry, they start off one way and they end up a whole nother way, more demonic, more satanic. Okay, and that's what happens to a lot of these Jakes. If they don't come into the industry wicked already, they come in, they end up getting worse. And that's why I brought this precept out. It says, Proverbs chapter 12, verse 26, the righteous is more excellent than his neighbor, which is, the Israelites, which starting with the elect. Okay, that's the righteous. It says, but the way of the wicked seduceth them. So the way of the wicked, Esau, these Edomites, they seduce our people, to be wicked, to go off, to go astray, okay, to be demonic. And, this is what you're going to hear about in this video real quick. Like I said, fair use. I'm going to play some of this and grab some precepts and just pray it's edifying to the hopeful elect. All right. But yeah, man, Esau, he runs the show. He runs it's Hollywood. He runs all this stuff. And he's the one that's pushing all this wicked vibration in the music and stuff. They do this on purpose because they're the devil. Okay. So like I said, it said the way of the wicked seduceth them. Jake has been seduced. And how they get you? With the money, the fame, the promises of a better life. And Jake end up selling out. Okay, they seduce you and you end up selling out and, pretty much becoming a complete demon. Okay, but let's play some of this.
I hope you guys are having a great day.
Today we will be talking about former power actor Rotimi exposing the evil side of Hollywood. Let's get right into it. I have said this many times. Hollywood isn't what it seems. While from the outside looking in, it seems like this great industry full of endless opportunities and success. We rarely hear about what these stars have to do for that success. Unfortunately, there are a lot of people in our world who are willing to do anything to make it as a star in Hollywood. This is something that the shot callers in Hollywood take full advantage of, forcing upcoming talent to basically sell their souls to get an opportunity. This is why there's so many lost souls running around Hollywood. People who sold out for fame and success thinking it was going to be worth it, only to find out the fame, money, and success can't fill an empty person who lost their soul. Many of these famous celebrities everyone loves so much had to do unimaginable things to get...
Look at this. These people are demonic, okay? These people are very demonic, man. All right, and they push this vibration, you know, in the music, you know, polluting the minds of your children. You know, they do this on purpose, okay, to keep people, you know, under a demonic trance. You know, they put this stuff in the music videos, and people just think it's entertainment. No, there's a lot of stuff going on. And if you got the eyes to see, you can watch any show and any movie and see all the satanic symbolism and, okay, showing you that, hey, this is a wicked world and Satan rules, you know, in this world. And this is a very heavy topic to me because I actually used to be in the so-called music industry, and I know how wicked it is. Okay, that's what made me, you know, really start taking the Most High seriously when I realized how wicked, you know, the industry was and how real Satan is. Because these motherfuckers really worshiping Satan. Okay, they're not just doing that for you know, to be cool. No, they really worship the spiritual demon Satan. Okay, and Esau, the so-called white man who's in power today, his face is on the money. He's a physical counterpart of Satan. All right, he's Satan in the flesh. All right, so this devil, what he's going to do is he's going to continue to push his demonic vibrations until the Lord just gets rid of him altogether. This is what happens when he's in power. All right, let's bring this right here real quick. It says, this is the book of Matthew, chapter 16, verse 24. It says, then said Yahawashi unto his disciples, if any man will come after me, let him deny himself and take up his cross and follow me. And that's us. We had to deny ourselves. You might have wanted to make music. You might have wanted to be a rapper or, you know, actor or whatever, you know, have some part in this world and some part in that industry, right? But you have to deny yourself and come and follow Yahawashi. Okay, come and do the will of Yahweh BAHASHAM Yahawashi. And this is us coming into this truth. Okay, us coming into the light, because everything else is darkness. It says, for whosoever will save his life shall lose it, and whosoever will lose his life for my sake shall find it. And what happens is when people are in that industry, they're trying to save themselves. They're trying to find salvation in that industry. Okay, with the money, the cars and the clothes, cars and the hoes. You know, they're trying to find their own salvation in that industry. So they're trying to seek to save their lives with their careers. You know, trying to make all this money and be famous. They think that that's going to save them, but it's not. It says, and whosoever will lose his life for my sake shall find it. And that's what we had to do. We had to lose our lives. We had to be reborn again. Come and serve Yahweh BAHASHAM Yahawashi. You see? And that's how we're going to find life. But here's the point. It says, for what if a man profited if he shall gain the whole world and lose his own soul? Or what shall a man give in exchange for his soul? Which basically means his life. These individuals, they sell out to this devil and give this man their energy, okay? And these people are influencers, so they influence the masses with that energy, okay? They sell out to Satan, all right? And what the Lord is doing in these last days is he's exposing, you know, Hollywood or HollyWEIRD and, you know, all these, you know, all these lies, okay? And, you know, and it's deceit that Esau has put out. As Esau is being destroyed, everything he created is being destroyed. All right, so part of that means, you know, this Hollywood. You had Trump talking about he's gonna put tariffs on the Hollywood. I mean, on any foreign movies coming in. You're gonna put tariffs on them, so you're not gonna get a lot of movies now too. You know, one of the brothers was talking to me in a show that we watch, anime Solo Leveling. You should definitely watch it if you can. But in that anime, he said he was reading an article where it was saying how it might be twice as much to watch it now because of the tariffs. You know, with him putting tariffs on the movie industry and stuff like that. All right. So it says, for what shall a man profit if he shall gain the whole world and lose his soul, lose his own soul? Or what shall a man give in exchange for his soul? And these individuals, they sell out. They completely, you know, demoralize themselves and, you know, bow down and worship the Baphomet, okay, Satan. They do a bunch of satanic rituals. They denounce God. And there was a video came out about a bunch of influencers that, you know, went to an Illuminati party, and they pretty much gave them the Bible or the book of their religion and told them they had to denounce it. Okay, why? Because now you work for Satan. Okay, you go into that world, you working for Satan.
Get to that level, they had to do things that most people wouldn't be proud of. Yet they do it and continue to do it for their desire for money and success. They don't care that it leads them to a place of spiritual destruction. While celebrities often talk about the great career they built, they don't talk about the deal with the devil that got them there. How they had to give themselves to those who run the industry. Allow these people to reshape them and turn them into their puppets, forcing them to not only abandon their morality and dignity, but to serve a whole other God that operates in wickedness. Believe it or not, your favorite celebrity has participated in demonic rituals and has involved themselves in witchcraft. That is the way they made it to the top.
Look at this guy. Look at this guy. Complete Mo. They're pushing that vibration heavy. All right. He said that is the way they made it to the top. They do a bunch of satanic rituals. Okay. They drink blood and piss, and they get they get piped on the black casting couch. This is real. This really goes on. Okay. This individual has been fondled with. You see him on the screen. He's been fondled with, man. But Jake could be out here listening to these individuals, and they putting that same vibration, in these record labels too. Before the song goes out, before the song is published and sent out, they cast spells on the music. Okay, that's why when you hear a particular song, you might not even like it. You might just hear a little piece of it, and they get stuck in your head because they're casting spells upon the music. Okay, Esau is demonic, so he's putting a demonic vibration out there to control the people. Okay, to have these people bugged out like this right here. Okay. See, frequencies is a big thing, vibrations, okay? And music brings particular frequencies, and if it's not a right frequency, it can corrupt you, all right? And this is why Esau, he goes out for these jakes, make them sell out, make them become a complete, abomination, and then put them all over the screen for your TV, for your children to watch and idolize, all right? Let me read this real quick. Pretty much the same thing. I just want to read on this side. It says, Mark chapter 8, verse 36. It says, "For what shall it profit a man if he shall gain the whole world?" Yeah, you get all the riches, the fame, the money, the jewelry. You gain the whole world, but you losing your own soul, which means you losing your life. You're going to die. You're going to die for doing this wickedness, man, for misleading the Lord's people. You're not going to have your chance in salvation. You're not going to have your chance. And the Lord going, judge a lot of these individuals. But there's a movie called This Is the End, okay? Something like that. I got it over there, but it's called This Is the End. It got all these famous actors in it. You had Rihanna in it, you had Kevin Hart in it, okay? And there was like a little Hollywood party or whatever, and all hell broke loose, And basically, in that movie, they showed you people getting beamed up, okay? But all the people that was in Hollywood, they end up getting destroyed. They end up getting put to death. Rihanna, Kevin Hart, all them individuals, okay? So it just go to show you that the Lord is really, not playing with this place. And you got to understand that in order to maneuver through this wicked society, this wicked world. Because Esau, he'll try to, he'll have these rappers out there, promoting that lifestyle to you, and you'll think it's obtainable, but really it's not, without, being a complete abomination, something that you would hate. You can't look yourself in the mirror. It says, "Or what shall a man give in exchange for his soul?" And a lot of these guys, they end up giving everything, okay? Let's keep it PG, but they give everything, all right? Getting bent over the black casting couch. This man's been funded with. Them elites set him down, okay? Had him go in that room. That's how all these individuals is, okay? So this individual, this power actor, he's going to tell you what this working industry is like, and what it takes to become so-called famous, to become to be in Hollywood. Let's play some more.
Think I'm making this up? Think again. As power actor Rotimi literally just exposed this very thing in an interview. Those of you who saw the TV show Power know exactly who Rotimi is. Rotimi is mostly famous for playing Darius in 50 Cent's hit TV show Power. Rotimi was deep in Hollywood and saw the ins and outs of the industry for himself, just like his wife, who was also an upcoming artist and actress. Recently, Rotimi did an interview where he talks about his wife Vanessa Madid's career and why she took a step back from Hollywood after achieving success. According to Rotimi, his wife got to a point in the industry where she was approached by the handlers of the industry who prep upcoming stars to get them to the next level. He claims that these handlers approach Vanessa and try to convince her to involve herself in the world of the occult and witchcraft. In Rotimi's own words, he said his wife refused to sacrifice herself in witchcraft, meaning she refused to sell her soul, claiming that his wife was approached to sell her soul to rise to the next level. When the interviewer asks if this is a real thing in Hollywood, Rotimi responds confidently that it definitely is a real thing, claiming that the top executives told her that this is the things she would need to push to make.
So look here, ad. So look here for the ad.
Enemy battleship sunk.
Make it to the next level. Rotimi even claims that learning this is what to sell her soul, claiming that his wife was approached to sell her soul to rise to the next level. When the interviewer asks if this is a real thing in Hollywood, Rotimi responds confidently that it definitely is a real thing, claiming that the top executives told her that this is the things she would need to push to make it to the next level. Rotimi even claims that learning this is what made him get closer to God, finding God by seeing the ways of the devil.
When you're powerful and more powerful than certain men, it can kind of make it be like, if you don't go with anything that they say, she's this, she's that, she's that, she's da 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 da. So, and she didn't sacrifice herself with witchcraft,
right?
And for real, like
right.
she's been approached to elevate to the next level.
Oh, that's a real thing.
Oh, that's a real thing, bro. That's a real, like, witchcraft.
And he know
voodoo,
that.
Juju, all of that is a real thing.
To get to the next level in career.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Absolutely. Yes.
Wow.
It's a real thing. So she's been presented opportunities like, hey, this is what we do. This is how we move. This is the things that you have to do to get to this level by top execs. And she was like, I'm not with it. And then also she wasn't going to sleep her way to the top. She's successful. She's doing all these things. And she's to the point where it's like, I'm drunk, man. I got drink to get out my head and just find peace. And that with the liquor brought depression. So at that point, she was like, this is not me. I love the music, but I hate the business. And she's just like, I can't do it anymore. So that was how she kind of let it go. But yeah, witchcraft, warlocks, and voodoo, juju, black magic, all of that is hyper real. That's what made me even believe more in God.
Right.
You know,
it's so crazy because you get desensitized to it because you'll see like interviews and there's people telling the stories of
that's what they want you to do, though.
Right.
That's the mission. Like the devil, the enemy can't really. He can't lie to you for real. He got to tell you what it is, and you choose to believe it or not. You know what I mean? Like, hey, this person drinks goat blood. Yeah, but I told you that it did, and it's not hiding it. It's just you desensitized to it. That no, this is a real thing. You know what I mean? So that's just the ways of the devil.
As you heard for yourself, Rotimi confirms what I've been
He said that's just the ways of the devil. He said people was drinking goat blood. This is a reality. And you see his wife, okay? So they was trying, and he said she didn't want to sleep her way to the top. That's why I talk about the black casting couch. These individuals, they really, when you get in that industry, you really have to start prostituting yourself for these particular gigs, these particular shows, these particular deals. Okay, and who you selling out to? These elites, really these small hats. All these record label owners are so-called Jewish people. Okay, coincidentally. Okay, so these, Jake being there, and you find out this is what it comes with. And I know because I had to realize the same thing. I used to make music prior to coming into the truth, and I was heavy into it. I was starting to really get into the touring and the shows and all that stuff. And I realized how wicked it was and what you had to do to really make it. It's not about your talent. It's not about how talented you are, how, great you are. It's about what you're willing to do. And I've seen that within my own short career of making music, of how people was willing to do anything to be somebody in this world. And I ain't that type of guy, okay? I could never be that type of guy. So it was a lot of shit that I realized that this is wickedness, And like he said, that brought him closer to God. That brought me closer to the Most High as well too. Made me really start seeking the Most High. The first thing I said when I realized I wasn't going to, make music or go in that industry is, what can I do now? And the first thought was, I can be a pastor. Okay, I can teach, the word. But then I said, but if I would do that, I got to be a pastor of truth. I can't be out here like these false pastors in these churches. Okay? Because you got to figure out what you're going to do in this life. And you're either going to serve the Most High or you're going to serve the devil. And a lot of our people are serving the devil, whether they realize it or not. All right? He said some heavy points right here. I'm going to bring that back. We can play it again. And just let him speak, for what he, from his experience, and say what he had to say again, because that was on point. All right, but let me grab a precept real quick too. Okay, he said how she had to drink to have a sound mind because she was so bugged out from what. That's why these rappers and these singers and stuff and these actors, they look all drugged up, bugged out because of what the reality of that stuff. You really playing with the devil. You are in the midst of Satan's playground. The way I thought about it back in the day. Okay, well I said, well, you know what? Damn, bump it. I'll just go independent. I'll make I'll do my that costs money. Jake ain't got no damn money. But also too, even if you was to make it, independently, that's like, I don't want to say a pig, but I don't want to say a goat either. But I say a cow, okay? A cow, a fat plump cow, dripped in blood with, steak wrapped all around it, walking into a cave with nothing but wolves, lions, tigers, and bears. Okay, they're going to devour you. That's why he said, too, how it's powerful people, powerful men. And if you say no, they'll say this about you, say that about you. They'll get you locked up. This is what they do. It's a wicked industry. Okay, let's grab this real quick. Because he also said how she didn't want to sleep her way to the top. This is the book of Ecclesiasticus, or Sirach, chapter 10, verse 8. It says, because of unrighteous dealings, this man is always dealing unrighteously. Okay. When he makes these deals with these jakes for these these record deals and stuff, it's an unrighteous deal. Okay, he getting you over. They got something called a 360 deal where you're pretty much getting robbed. You got these rappers that give their whole life and being to this stuff, and then they're not getting a portion of they're not even seeing a percentage of their money. Okay, it's going to the labels. It's going to make it Esau richer. This is another way that they exploit our people to make riches and fame. These record labels, man. And these devils will put a life insurance policy on you and have you, go out there and get shot up somewhere and collect a life insurance policy on you. They make more money when the artist is dead. All right. So it says, and I'll pray everybody can hear me. I'm not sure the audio. I haven't checked the audio, but Lord willing, everything is good. It says, why is earth and ashes proud? There is not a more wicked thing than a covetous man. You see, why is earth and ashes proud? And these people are proud. They're proud as hell. You can't tell them nothing. The Lord's scripture says, why is earth and ashes proud? There is not a more wicked thing than a covetous man. And to be covetous means to can never have enough. Let's grab that word covetous real quick. All right. I'll just grab the definition, okay, for the sake of time. But to be covetous is a sin. To desire something that's not yours. It says covetous. It says covetous, having or showing a great desire to possess something belonging to someone else. And that's what happens with Jake. They see that these rappers and these ball players flaunting this money and these cars and stuff, and you end up wanting it. You start taking that lifestyle. Okay, you start, going in that pit. And a lot of times what they don't tell you is a lot of these rappers are really broke. They owe money to their labels. They're in debt to their labels, So all that stuff that they flaunting and it's all rented, it's not really theirs. It's a false reality, okay? These people are miserable. You got that guy, Lil Wayne, he made a song. He said, oh, no, this ain't paradise. Yeah, because you thought you was going to go there and find paradise, peaches, and cream over there. You find out it's, shit and piss. And you got to drink it and eat it. These people are wicked. Bringing that back, it says, having or showing a great desire to possess something belonging to someone else. That's a covetous spirit. It says, why is earth and ashes proud? There is not a more wicked thing than a covetous man. For such and one setteth his own soul to sale. Jacob go out there and, completely degrade themselves and their people, just for, an extra crumb off the master table. It says, because while he liveth, he casteth away his bowels. And these individuals, what to try to get ahead, they would, do. That's real. That's why, in the interview, he playing stupid. He knows that's real. He playing stupid, though, okay? But that's how wicked that world is. They'll make you think you crazy for seeing what your eyes are seeing, okay? That's why people be bugging out, too. Because it's like nobody believes you, You get caught in that world. You stuck in that world with devils, with demons, okay? Let's play some more.
up in witchcraft, meaning she refused to sell her soul, claiming that his wife was approached to sell her soul to rise to the next level. When the interviewer asks if this is a real thing in Hollywood, Rotimi responds confidently that it definitely is a real thing, claiming that the top executives told her that this is the things she would need to push to make it to the next level. Rotimi even claims that learning this is what made him get closer to God, finding God by seeing the ways of the devil.
When you're powerful and more powerful than certain men, it can kind of make it be like, if you don't go with anything that they say, she's this, she's that, she's that, she's da 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 da.
All in the blogs, all in the news.
And she didn't sacrifice.
You know, all in the blogs, all news. They'll slander you. They'll pretty much make you seem like the worst person in the world, like you're on drugs, like this and that happened. You know, it's a snare. You get caught up in that trap.
Herself with witchcraft.
Right.
And for real, like,
right.
you know, she's been approached to elevate to the next level.
Oh, that's a real thing.
Oh, that's a real thing, bro. That's a real, like, witchcraft, voodoo, juju, all of that is a real thing.
To get to the next level in career.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Absolutely, yes.
Wow.
It's a real thing. So she's been presented opportunities like, hey, this is what we do. This is how we move. This is the things that you have to do to get to this level by top execs. And she was like, I'm not with it. And then also, she wasn't going to sleep her way to the top. She's successful. She's doing all these things. And she's to the point where it's like, I'm drunk, man. I got drink to get out my head and just find peace. And that with liquor brought depression. So at that point, she was like, this is not me. I love the music, but I hate the business. And she's just like, I can't do it anymore. So that was how she kind of let it go. But yeah, witchcraft, warlocks, and voodoo, juju, black magic, all of that is hyper real. That's what made me even believe more in God.
Right.
You know,
it's so crazy because you get desensitized to it because you'll see like interviews and just people telling the stories of
but that's what they want you to do, though.
Right.
That's the mission. Like the devil, the enemy can't lie to you for real. He got to tell you what it is, and you choose to believe it or not. You know what I mean? Like, hey, this person drinks goat blood. Yeah. But I told you that.
Hey,
it
they
is.
tell
It's
you.
not hiding.
They tell you in these movies and these shows, you know, like you said, a little interview they'll make do. They have somebody go out there, like Cat Williams, who he's a sellout. They'll have him go out there and tell you, and you will think, oh, he's exposing. No, this nigga's just, you know, he's playing, what's the word? It just escaped me, but he's playing, you know, the particular role. Okay, what is it? Controlled opposition. Okay, that's the word. He's playing controlled opposition. They'll put individuals like that out in front of you to tell you the truth, and whether it be funny, and you know, and that's another thing too. And them comedy shows, you go to them comedy shows, and they gonna tell you the truth, but they gonna make it sound funny, make it seem like it's a joke, but it's not a joke. It's true. Okay, Cat Williams told you they was in there snorting coke off the damn table, and you know, all type of wickedness, but you know, in certain rooms. You know, they saying this guy Diddy's list just got released with all the people that was at them parties. Which, you know, we already know who was at them parties. You seen them all in the picture smiling and stuff. All right, but he, like he said, this is what they do. Okay, this is that lifestyle. So that's when it comes to the riches, the money, the fame. You know, no matter, you know, these are the people that you end up getting around. The higher you get in this world. Okay, let me grab this real quick though. It says this is the book of Luke, chapter 16, verse 19. It says, there was a certain rich man that was clothed in purple and fine linen, and fared sumptuously every day. It says, and there was a certain beggar named Lazarus. So this is going into, it says, there was a certain beggar named Lazarus, which was laid at his gate, full of sores. And we represent Lazarus, and Esau represents the rich man. It says, and desired to be fed with the crumbs which fell from the rich man's table. Moreover, the dogs came and licked his sores. So Esau, you know, he's the rich man, and Jake is trying to be fed with the crumbs falling from his table. This is why Jake sell out. This is why Jake go out with a hand out. Jake willing to do. It's all about getting signed. I want to get signed. I'm trying to get signed. And when you get signed, pretty much they own you. They own everything about you, your likeness, you, everything. Okay? So it says, this is what Jake doing. They was desiring to get crumbs from the master's table. All right? It says, and desiring to be fed with crumbs which fell from the rich man's table. This is what Jake do when they want that money, that riches, that fame. They want to, you know, be somebody on this side. You're desiring the crumbs that's falling from this man's table because he eating. That's why Jake will say that. Oh, I'm eating. Yeah, what you eating though? The crumbs from that's falling from the rich man's table, which is Esau. And what you got to do to even be near that table. Okay, you see what Esau do with his dogs. It says, which was laid. Salakia. It says, oh, a verse up. It says, which was laid at his gate full of sores. That's Jake and this oppression and this, catching this hell. We are covered in sores. And jumping back down, it says, moreover, the dogs came and licked his sores. And this is the other nations, and these heathens, they pretty much are licking our sores. They're pretty much making. This is why I did a video about it a few weeks ago, how these nations are making money off of Jake. They're making all the money in the world off of Jake. They got the Chinese stores, that the hair stores, okay, the Chinese food, the hair stores, the corner stores, the gas stations, okay, nail salons. And they put all these places in Esau's neighborhood. They put all these places in Slocky, 1 second. Yeah, Salakia. Technical difficulties. We'll be back. All right, let me finish this up. Close out. All right, it says, going back. Salakia, we was in the spirit. Let's bring that back. This is, the book of Luke, chapter 16, verse 21. It says, Shalom, Shalom. Can you hear me, bro? It says, Luke chapter 16, verse 21. It says, and desiring to be fed with the crumbs which fell from the rich man's table, moreover, the dogs came and licked his sores. Shalom, Shalom. Thwadi Yahawashi Melshai. Call it Yahawashi Melshai. It says, and it came to pass that the beggar died and was carried by the angels into Abraham's bosom. The rich man also died and was buried. Okay, so the beggar, you know, is symbolic for these jakes, you know. That's out here, you know, trying to strive in this industry, trying to, you know, selling out. Okay, you gonna end up dying, you know, and the rich man will end up dying too. And then the roles are going to flip. There's a movie called Trading Places. Okay, we're about to trade places. All right, let's play some more though. We're going to close out. Salakia for the interruption. Salakia.
It is just, you just desensitized to it. No, this is a real thing. You know what I mean? So that's just the ways of the devil.
As you heard for yourself, Rotimi confirms what I've been saying for years on this channel. Hollywood is the home of the devil. You can't make it in the business without compromising yourself for success. There's a reason celebrities look nothing like they did before they got in the industry. These celebrities are appointed handlers who shape these celebrities and turns them into a representation of the evil that runs that industry. People refuse to believe this because they don't want to give up idolizing these celebrities, even when the proof is right in the open. I've been calling this out for years. I've been saying this over and over again, and I've showed countless examples on my channel of all these celebrities that by the time they make it to the top, they're unrecognizable. These executives are known to take advantage of these celebrities that are coming up because they know how bad they want that fame. They know that they're willing to do anything to make it.
And I don't think anybody should be out there compromising their self and their morals just for fame. I know that that might sound crazy because with fame comes money and attention, but what you need to be thinking about is yourself, your self-respect, and having to answer to God at the end of the day for doing these actions.
Yeah, I don't think most people think about that at all. I don't think most people even consider God until they're face to face with the devil, you know? Once they get in that industry, they get the foot in the industry and they're seeing all this success, seeing all this money, and they're being told, do this, do that.
Salakia for that.
They do it no problem. And think about this, like most people don't understand how the industry works. Most people don't get it. And on the second channel, I recently did an interview and I tried to expose how the Freemasons run the music industry. And I explained how many of these celebrities, some of them might involve themselves in masonry or in witchcraft before their success, and they use that to get successful. Like if you're a Mason and you join a Masonic lodge, there is literally an entertainment lodge where actors and celebrities go to network with each other and basically help each other make it to the next level. For example, let's say there's a high degree Mason who works in Hollywood who's running a production studio and he's working on a movie. And then someone who wants to be in Hollywood who joins the Masonic lodge ends up going to that entertainment lodge and getting this opportunity to be in that movie just because he's a Mason. So that's how we see a lot of celebrities end up becoming Masons, selling out essentially just for the opportunity to make it to the next level. And the other side of it, some of these celebrities work really hard, make it to a certain point where they're getting a little bit of attention, or at least enough attention to have a career. And the music industry, they see this, they pick up the artists, they sign them, and then they try to introduce them into this world. Like what Rotimi basically said about his wife. His wife was working hard, she's talented, she was doing everything she needed to do to become a successful artist. But then she hit that wall, she hit that point where you can't get past it unless they give you the green light, unless you do what they say and they can use you in the way that they need. Because if they don't have any use for you, they're not going to allow you in their industry. What most people think is that a lot of people say, oh, you can do anything with God, which is 100% true. But the thing is, Hollywood isn't an industry that's owned by God. Hollywood is run by the devil. Hollywood is an industry that its only purpose is to influence and control people. It's not entertainment. Entertainment is how they're able to influence and control you, because nobody listens to things that they're not really interested in. But if you make it entertaining, if you make it fun, if you make it attractive, then people will pay attention. So that's why Hollywood is the perfect tool for the devil, because it has all these qualities. It presents itself like this beautiful, amazing place where anything is possible to lure you in. And then when you're in there, you figure it out and you realize that this is the way to play ball. You got to sell out. And that's what Rotimi basically said about his wife. They wanted his wife to sacrifice herself to make it to the next level. They wanted her to start doing things that she wasn't morally okay with. And we know how.
That's the thing. A lot of these individuals, they have no morals, so they'll do whatever they got to do to get to where they want to be. All right, but he said, you don't want to play ball. That's another thing too. They'll blackball you, and they'll say that, you don't want to play ball, so they'll do something called blackballing you, which means they'll block you from getting any jobs or roles in the industry, which means what? No money. Eventually you end up failing. That's why you have some of these individuals, they be so-called one-hit wonders. All right, they may make a good song, it may blow up, they may get offered, and they deny it or they reject it, and now you back to driving Uber, or doing deliveries. Like that guy Young Jock, which he more likely sold out, but they obviously didn't give him enough. They call him doing, ride share jobs, because what? Though you make the money, the fame, if you don't keep on doing it, you're gonna end up losing it. It's gonna that well gonna run dry, and they're gonna say they're gonna pretty much, put you out of the circle. Okay, and that's why these individuals, they be, they have to they get worse and worse because they're doing more and more demonic things, more and more wickedness. Let's go right here. It says Ephesians chapter 5 verse 6. It says, "Let no man deceive you with vain words, for because of these things cometh the wrath of the Most High upon the children of disobedience." And that's what happened. Jay get deceived with vain words, false promises. They'll tell you they're going to give you this amount of money, that amount of money, they're going to pay you this and pay you that. And have you doing all type of crazy shit, and the whole time you're not getting that. Getting pimped out. That's what happened to Jake. Okay, but it says the wrath that for these things cometh the wrath of the Most High upon the children of disobedience. If you Jakes don't repent, you're going to be disobedient, the Lord going to kill you. Okay, He's going to kill you with Esau. They'll hand you in the hand, the wicked shall not go unpunished. It says, "For ye were sometimes darkness, but now are ye light in the Lord. Walk as children of light." And that's us. We got to walk as children of the light. Before, prior to us coming to this truth, we were sometimes in that darkness too. But now we have come into the light, and you got to walk in the light. You got to shine bright. It says, "For the fruit of the Spirit is in all goodness and righteousness and truth." So you see, so for the fruit of the Spirit is in all goodness and righteousness and truth. So you got to, for the fruits of the Spirit, you have to be good. You got to have goodness and righteousness and truth. Though we're in these corruptible bodies, though we're in this, these chains of darkness, it's about trying. It's about your intent. It's about, your spirit. And like the individual said, she morally wasn't down to do some of those things. So she turned it away. I had to make that same decision at one point in time in my life as a young man. I had to decide, I'm not doing that, bro. Like I said, I also was, going into acting. I had a whole, I went to a whole agency and stuff, and basically they would send you these jobs for these agencies, and they would describe the person they was looking for, and every time it was a Jake, they wanted you to do some gay shit, some borderline gay shit or some degrading character, and individuals, they'll take those skills, those characters, just to get so-called get their foot in the door. Okay, it says once you get in that door, once you get your foot in that door, you're gonna wish you never walked in. It says, "Proving what is acceptable unto the Lord, and have no fellowship with the unfruitful works of darkness, but rather reprove them." So we're not supposed to have any fellowship with the unfruitful works of darkness. And this is what you see in HollyWEIRD. Nothing but unfruitful works. We shouldn't have any fellowship with that. You got to rebuke that stuff. You want to get away from that as much as possible. Okay? It says, and have no fellowship with the unfruitful works of darkness, but rather reprove them. And that's what we're doing right here. Okay? These unfruitful works of darkness are being exposed. It says, for it is a shame even to speak of those things which are done of them in secret. If you knew the half of what these individuals do and did to get where they at, you will not idolize them. You would not want to listen to them or see them or get an autograph. You won't want to do none of that shit. They hate themselves, okay? They just have the illusion of celebrityism or fame, okay? It's all an illusion. It's HollyWEIRD, which when you go into the word Hollywood, it comes from the hollow tree, okay, which is what they use to make wands and stuff, okay? It's satanic. It's, you know, witchcraft. It says, for it is a shame even to speak of those things which are done of them in secret, right? They was going to tell her, hey, well, let us do this and do that to you, and we'll give you this deal and give you that deal. And at least she had the moral integrity enough to say no. And he know because he in that industry too. He was on the show Power. Okay? It says, but all things that are reproved are made manifest by the light, for whatsoever doth make manifest is light. And that's what we're doing. We make it this, you know, this light shine. Let me go back and read this in the NLT. All right, we'll close out with you know, this and a little bit more in this chapter. Through the Spirit of YAHAWASHI. It says, Ephesians chapter 5, verse 10, it says, carefully, in the NLT, carefully determine what pleases the Lord. And that's what we got to do when we come into this, in this life. You got to determine what pleases YAHAWASHI. Because if it doesn't please YAHAWASHI, you shouldn't be doing it. And if you are doing it, there's going to be a judgment for that. All right? It says, carefully determine what pleases the Lord. Take no part in the worthless deeds of evil and darkness. Don't take no part in that. Okay, we don't want nothing to do with that. This is why when this guy Alazar of the Sakari went on the No Jumper show, we're like, whoa, wait a minute, what's going on? You are partaking, you are having fellowship with the unfruitful works of darkness. You are taking part in worthless deeds of evil and darkness. Look at what's going on over there. Them niggas is going crazy. This guy is promoting gang violence and got people shooting up the studio, and the guy who was on the studio promoting, talking about he was going to put Kill Squad in the streets. That nigga's in prison, and he just left him. You know, they beefing out. It's a bunch of wickedness, man. Why would you want to be around any of that? This guy's a Mo. He I got a video about him too, Lord, I can grab soon, about him talking about, how he a whole atheist. He don't believe in the Lord. He don't believe in any God. He was really satanic because he got a bunch of satanic tattoos all around him. All right? So you're not supposed to be around these individuals at all. You shouldn't want to shake hands with them. You should want to be in their presence. You should want to be nowhere near around them. If you really understood the thing that these individuals do and did to get where they at. It says, it is shameful even to talk about the things that ungodly people do in secret. Yeah, you have no idea what these people are doing behind closed doors. Okay? This is what that whole Diddy thing was about. Motherfuckers was in there with baby oil. Kevin Hart said you walk into the wrong room at one of these parties, you're going to see men backing each other, lapping and backing each other. It's weird, okay? It's weird, but that's that world. They show you this, and they show you this to let you know what they're about. They letting the whole world know what they're about in these movies and these shows. Yeah, they doing it purpose because they're, like you said, you're being desensitized to it, okay? It's a freak show, the devil's playground, all right? It says, but their evil intentions will be exposed when the light shines on them. And this is what the Lord is doing right now. He's causing the light to shine on, anytime this stuff goes out, they're getting exposed. That's the light shining. Okay? Let me see what else I got right here. Bear with me 1 second. It says, this is Ephesians chapter 5. Verse 15, it says, see then that you walk circumspectly, not as fools, but as wise. Can't be walk around blind, okay? Just going about your day, not knowing what's going on, okay? Being completely fooled and deceived, okay? It says, not as fools, but as wise, redeeming the time because the days are evil. Redeeming the time because the days are evil, okay? We're in some very evil times. So with the time you have, make the most of it, serving YAHAWASHI, okay? Or there's going to be death and destruction. All right? Yeah, that's encounters. Okay. It says, redeeming the time because the days are evil. Wherefore, be not unwise, but understanding what the will of the Lord is. In the NLT, It says, this is verse 15. So be careful how you live. Don't live like fools, but like those who are wise. Make the most of every opportunity in these evil days. You get an opportunity to serve the Lord, come back to the Lord, repent, do it ASAP. Don't waste time, man. Scripture says, make no tarrying to turn to the Lord. Okay? But these individuals, they try to get to a certain level, and they start thinking about coming back, and before you know it, you can't come back. You out there. You in a sunken place. All right? Through. All right? It says, don't act thoughtlessly, but understand what the Lord wants you to do, right? You can't be out here just airhead, believing whatever you see on TV and just going with the flow, and before you know it, you just like the rest of these individuals, bugged out. Okay? This is real life. And the interviewer, talking about, yeah, man. Okay? They know. Let me see what else on this.
How that looks like. They were going to have her dressing scandalous, overly sexualizing her, pushing satanic imagery like we see all these pop stars and celebrities doing.
The hell is
That's
this?
what they want. That's what they do. And a lot of people don't understand why they do this.
What
this
the hell?
Is the reason. Because the people that are controlling this industry,
what kind of music video is
that's
that?
who they serve. What's crazy is that recently I actually saw an interview. That's another perfect example of this. It was regarding a man named Aaron who was on the Zeus network, and he called.
I did a video on this.
Why don't you own apartment buildings? Seriously, why don't you own these big apartment buildings? And I get it.
But I did.
Zeus network.
I had did a video on this, and I'm gonna close out with this. I haven't even watched this whole video, but the point has been made. But I'm gonna play this last part with Aaron. Oh, I seen that too. Yeah, Justin Bieber. That guy's through right now. He admitted that he got played with at the Diddy parties. Okay, he admitted that they was they destroyed that individual, man. But this guy Aaron the plumber, he goes exposing Zeus, which is wicked as hell. I did a video on that a few weeks back. You can find it in the archive. But it just shows you how demonic this place is and what you got to do to be in that realm. And he's gonna explain a little bit of it. These individuals, they're real deal worshiping demons.
Lemmy claiming that he is just as bad as the rest of Hollywood, insinuating that he was trying to make him sell out, just like the executives were trying to have Rotimi's wife do as well. He goes and calls them out for saying that they worship demonic gods and fallen gods. He brought up Greek mythology, and he also brings up the fact that they changed his name to the Pied Piper. His name was similar to it, but they changed it to the Pied Piper. For those who don't know, the Pied Piper is an old story where essentially this figure would use music to lure children, and these children were never seen again. So,
let me say this too. When these individuals, that's why sometimes you'll see how they had one name before, and then when they got into the industry, their names changed. They get those names from their handlers, from the elites. That's why when you look their names up, it comes back to some satanic numerology. Okay, they get their names from the elites. It's a meaning behind all their names. All right. It ain't just they just made them names and they in there. No, that's why when you go deep back into their careers, you'll notice that it was called something else prior to the name that they being called now. All right, because when they made that deal, they said, yeah, we gonna see Esau. The whole thing about him giving you a deal is he got to see it fit if he can use you. Okay, and what he wants to use you for is to pollute others. Okay. That's why they have such a thing now with influencers. It ain't even the rappers anymore. It's the influencers, the streamers. They're great influencers. These people can have 500,000 people on the screen watching them any day of the week. You know what I'm saying? So these are influencers, and they have these individuals doing these particular things to influence you and to program your mind and your children's mind with demonic, wicked nastiness. All right?
So he brings that up, and he also brings up the fact that they worship these fallen gods because they changed their name to Zeus Network. He basically states that they give all these celebrities.
Hey, speaking of those streamers and those influencers, you had this group, the AMP group, with Kai Cenat and a few other Jakes, Duke Dennis, Phantom, or whatever this guy's name is. I don't really know these individuals, but I just see them on the internet. These guys started off streaming. They're making millions of dollars now. you know, and they're pretty much like the new celebrities. The celebrities go on their platform to get a boost when they got a new record or something coming out. Okay, so they're like the new celebrities, but you know, supposedly, you know, it's probably all, you know, a show, you know, a big humiliation ritual or whatever. Who knows? But just one of the guys got kicked out of the group, I guess, you know, recently, and he said something about how those guys think that they're gods, but I know who the real God is. Okay, so these individuals, they get to a point where they start worshiping God, they start thinking that they are gods. You know, they turn into something completely else. All right, and every now and then, if you paying attention, they'll speak up and they'll say something about this stuff. They'll let you know what's really going on behind the door, behind closed doors, and it's wickedness. Okay, you don't want to know what's going on behind closed doors.
Greek mythology names.
The whole show on Zeus was a humiliation ritual. It was a humiliation ritual. Zeus is in love with Greek mythology. Greek mythology is demonic in a real way. Badesky, I didn't set up, bruh. What piqued my interest, right? Zeus Network changed my name from Pied Piper to Pipe. No, from Pipe Piper, right? They said Pipe.
Yeah, Pipe Piper.
Because you know I'm a licensed plumber.
Yeah.
They changed it to Pied Piper, right? So that sparked my interest. I said, what the Pied Piper?
Yeah.
Why to follow me that? Right, so I Googled Pied Piper. The Pied Piper is Greek mythology. The guy that led 130 children to their death.
Yeah.
And only 3 survived. One was dumb, one was deaf, one was blind. You feel me? And one survived because they went to go get their coat. You feel me? When the Pied Piper was leaving, and they came back and the Pied Piper was gone. So 4 children survived. Out of 130, so I'm thinking like, what? Why would these people? And after I started investigating the Greek mythology, I noticed that all the contestants on the Zeus Network show had Greek mythology names that trace back to Greek mythology. It's demonic. It was a satanic ritual.
So that show you that they changing their names. They give you another name, so people that idolize them call upon them names. Whole time you calling upon a false god, a deity. Okay? Like Ice Spice, that goes back to ISIS and all this other crazy stuff. Yeah, they put these individuals up there and have you idolizing these individuals so them demons can work through them. Okay, on the stages, when they're doing them shows and whatnot. It's all satanic. And they put you under a spell, have you lost or confused. Okay? But if you got the eyes to see and the ears to hear, you're gonna be able to, you know, to see through the through the smoke and mirrors.
You know what I'm saying? When she slapped me, it's called the slap of admittment, right? In a real way. She slapped me, she was marking me for death, bruh. And I don't give a fuck to say it on camera, bruh. They was finna sacrifice me. I'm honest. They was finna sacrifice me, but when Erica Mena slapped me, I got up out of there. I called the police on her. I filed a police.
He talking shit. But he said they was finna sacrifice me. He ain't, you know, he for real. They will sacrifice your ass. And in fact, 2 people that was on that show died. One of them got shot trying to fight, you know, in the club or something. Then you had another one. There was a woman. She got found dead in an abandoned building, you know, in you know, around that area where the show was filmed. Okay, she got found dead in an abandoned building. So they was actually sacrificing individuals. All right, that's real. Well, he's saying people have been exposing Zeus for doing these things for a little minute now. Okay, but that's where Jake is going to watch their entertainment, you know. All this bullshit they put on the TV, it's just brain rot, okay, to keep you completely dumb, docile, lost, confused, bugged out, through, all right? So he not just making this up. He letting you know.
Contestants on the Zeus Network show had Greek mythology names that trace back to Greek mythology. It's demonic. It was a satanic ritual. You know what I'm saying? When she slapped me, it's called the slap of admittment, right? In a real way. She slapped me, she was marking me for death, bruh. And I don't give a fuck to say it on camera, bruh. They was finna sacrifice me. I'm honest. They was finna sacrifice me, but when Erica Mena slapped me, I got up out of there. I called the police on her, I filed a police report on her ass, and up they satanic ritual. You know, satanic ritual. You know what I'm saying? Get on TikTokery and look at all the people that's exposing Zeus for the demonic entities that they worship. But that's key. Millennial plumber, you're a weird ass. You know what I'm saying? Because who the fuck is into some, I don't know, but one black man that's into some Greek mythology. How are you allowing demonic entities on your program, bro? Nah, bro, I ain't going for that. Remember.
It's interesting when you think about it, because Lemmy himself, he comes from a family of churches.
Yeah,
he comes from a religious family. His father is a TV church personality who basically does the opposite of what Lemmy does. He
Really, they're doing the
pushes
same
God
thing.
and all this.
Really, they doing the same thing. See, when you really on the level, you know they just doing the same thing. Okay? They're not worshiping or preaching, talking about the God of the Bible. They're all talking about the same God, which is Satan, in different forms. Okay? Whether it be the Christianity, you know, white Jesus, plantation Christianity, that's that's satanic. That's demonic. Okay? It's white supremacy. But the same thing with the whole Zeus network, where they're pushing about Zeus and these different deities and stuff. And as we saw earlier in the video, they're talking about how they are Freemasons. Okay? Because that deals with the occult. You know, they deal with the occult. Just weirdness.
While his son is literally pushing the devil onto people, selling this and selling out his own people for money, he exploits.
And they put a Jacob there, but it was a whole thing, the whole debacle going on. I saw this guy recently about him saying that it's his company, it's his network, but really it's owned by, you know, another Jake. I believe his name was King Batch. Yeah, King Batch was another one, but it was, you know, it's really owned by Edomites, to say the least. Okay, they the ones that promote, you know, what go on that show and what don't. All right, this guy's it's just the front man. All right, and that's what these devils do.
Exploits his own people to make more money. And here we have Aaron calling him out for it. And it's not just been Aaron. There's been so many people that's on the Zeus network that come out and
he said he exploits his own people. This is what these guys are doing. They're exploiting their own people. And who was he? He was a Jake. He's an Israelite. Okay? That's why I brought out in the beginning, the way of the wicked seduceth them. Okay? Jake has been seduced by the wicked, and now they're seduced. They're exploiting their own people through the wicked. They've been a vessel for Satan to use to destroy Jake. Okay?
He does the opposite of what Lemmy does. He pushes God and all this, while his son is literally pushing the devil onto people, selling this and selling out his own people for money. He exploits his own people to make more money. And here we have Aaron calling him out for it. And it's not just been Aaron. There's been so many people that's on the Zeus network that come out and call Lemmy out, basically comparing him to the next Diddy. This is why I was considering making a full video on him. If you guys want to see that, comment Zeus Network below, and I'll make sure to get that done. But even Aaron states that they were trying to make him do the same thing that they were trying to make Rotimi's wife do. They were
Saul Sawaka, you seen that? Saul Sawaka accused of sacrificing his artists. You see? But it's a bunch of sacrificing going on, man. A bunch of wickedness. And this is why the Lord got us, you know, in the right stead, doing the right thing, going the right direction, and exposing this madness, because really the Lord is really fed up with this madness, with this wickedness, man. Okay? Jake really, you know, getting sacrificed to these deities, these gods. Okay? Which is sorcery, witchcraft. It's a bunch of wickedness going on in this world. And that's why the Lord's coming to burn America with thermonuclear fire. It's going to be a sacrifice, a burnt offering. That's the point, though. You can go watch the video. I'm pretty much done with it. I pray this lesson's been edifying to the full leg. So lucky I had to pause it, or I had to mute it for that period of time. I pray it's been edifying to the full leg. Shalom, Kwame Sharala, Baba Ball, and on to the next one. Shalom.